Hey everybody, welcome back to the We Are Pool Players podcast. I'm your co-host Greg Plester,
Here with Erik Hjorleifson.
and let's get into it. So Erik, we finally have a bunch of content to cover, so that's exciting. We've got the Midwest Billiards has completed. Let's go over that. Some cool little stories out of there. We've got to touch on Bergman and Gorst for sure. And not to mention the Champions Pool League. We're going into day 3, day 4 probably when this podcast comes out. So there's some real interesting things that has happened there. So we'll definitely get into that as well. So why don't we touch on the Midwest Open Billiards, somewhere in the Midwest,
It's just outside of Cincinnati. I've actually been there. I was there about maybe 15 years ago. It's an iconic room in the U.S., known for action. I guess I'd probably say the biggest city to play pool in Ohio is Columbus, but it's been a staple of action and good players going through there for years. Yeah, over 40 tables. I want to say maybe even 50.
Wow, that's a big haul.
Yeah.
That's a big haul in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So the first one, I mean, the invitational, the 16-player invitational is kind of the gold standard out of the tournaments that were played there. And once again, Fedor win everything. Gorst, he wins again. So the prize payouts were first for 5,000, second 3,000, third and fourth split 500. Sorry, 500 each. They didn't split 500, and auction was 6,033. So just the top two. This kid's an animal, eh?
Well, I mean, he came out and won the World Championships when he was 21. I think people first started getting a glimpse of what he could be when he played in the Derby City 10 ball event when he was, I want to say, like 17 or 18. And I know he won rounds. I want to say he made it as far as the semifinals when he was that young. And
Did he?
you know, you could just see the way he was hitting the ball that, yeah, there's something there. And then he came out and won the World 9-ball Championships. You know, there hasn't been a ton going on for the last year, but I think he's really getting into a space where you have to call him one of the top 5 players in the world now, you know. It's still going to take a few more wins to really say that 100%, but I don't know. He hasn't been losing much in the last 6 months, that's for sure. You know?
Yeah, against some real top contenders too. He also won the bar box one, the open billiard 10 ball. Because that was bar box, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
128 players. And yeah, so
he scoops that one too. Don't play this kid 10 ball. He's unstoppable.
Also finished 5th in the one pocket, I believe, and he won the all-around title. The all-around title was only $1,000, but he did get the all-around title.
Yeah, which I mean, obviously well deserved. So, and I mean, Double D did really well. Also, I think he got? He got second in, what was it? I want to say the 10 ball. He was right up there in the one pocket. Roberto Gomez wins the one pocket. Is that not a little bit of a surprise, or?
I'd say so with the strength of the one pocket or the players in the one pocket. He's definitely playing a lot. Like, you know, he's had a few gambling matches. I think he played Evan Lunda a couple times. Few other ones. He's playing a lot. He's learning the game. I think you got to throw him somewhere in the top 15, maybe if you're generous, somewhere in the top 10 now. But yeah, if you can win a 128 player one pocket tournament with, you know, there's not everyone was there, but at least 10 very good players. It's a good accomplishment for him.
So who do you think, just out of curiosity, since we'll go there, who do you think right now the best 10 ball player on the planet is? And it doesn't need to be exact. Who do you think is in contention to be the best, debatably the best 10 ball player on the planet right now?
Yeah, I think until anybody beats Shane, you can't say it's not Shane. To me, Wu Chicheng is a powerful player, but I haven't seen him play much 10 ball, so I don't really know. And same with a lot of the Chinese and Taiwanese players, like they play mostly 9 ball. Like Chang Jun-Lin actually has played challenge matches with Shane Van Boning. Like they're not I think it was like a small. I didn't even see the final result of what happened there, but they went through a set of challenge matches, which was supposed to lead up to a grand finale, and there were like races to 60. Chang Jun-Lin beat Shane one time in a race to 60 playing
Wow.
10 ball. And I
Wow.
feel like, and Chang Jun-Lin won the world 10 ball
That's
championships.
right. That's
So I
right.
think he's somewhere in there. Gorst, just with his one win over DeLuna, it's just one set, but it's very notable, what he did there, beating him by so much.
Hmm.
I don't know. Anyone
Well,
else come to mind for you? Like,
no, I would say Gorst. I mean, you know what? I think we touched on this too. It is a little bit like tennis. There's a small handful of a few players out there that are they're just a little bit above the rest when you put them. I think when you put them in that race to 100, winner break,
right.
big breakers. So that's where, I think Gorst is in that mix. We don't know for sure because it hasn't happened yet, but you'd have to think he's in that mix. It'd be so great to see. And with that said, though, real quick, what do you think about 9 ball? That one's tough. That one's a little bit different for sure. But who do you
Yeah,
think is up there?
I think it's similar. You know what
Is
I
it?
mean? Like, yeah, I think Orcolo's stronger in 9 ball because he's one of the best players in the world and he doesn't necessarily break real big at 10 ball. So
Hmm.
I'd put Orcolo back in the mix for 9 ball. We'll see what happens with Gorst and Bergman this weekend,
Yeah,
right? But
that's right.
if Gorst can pull off another 20 game plus win, that says something to me about how he's like what his real 9 ball level is. But I like the Taiwanese and Chinese playing 9 ball too because that's the game they play the most.
That's right. They're playing it all the time, and they play. They, I don't want to take too much of it away. I want to discredit the game, but they play like robots. They play it so detailed and so, how do I even say it? Like straightforward. Like it's
Yeah.
simple, it's clean, it's quiet. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like there's any feel. It just looks automatic. Like this is how you play it.
The thing for me about 9 ball too is you're talking about like three different breaking rules, right? Are you talking about Magic Rack with the 1 on the spot, or are you talking about Magic Rack with the 9 on the spot, break from anywhere, or are you talking about Magic Rack break from the box with the 9 on the spot? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's
Yeah,
like in 10 ball, you're just talking about okay, they're all going to break them square, and that's the break, right? But
yeah,
9 ball, you're talking about variations of the rules, right? So
yeah.
it's like one of the best players that I've seen with a real solid set break where he really controls the 1 with the 1 on the spot. Magic Rack is Ko Pin Yi, and
Mm.
he won the world championships with that break. He won the China Open with that break. So I think it depends on what exactly the racking and breaking rules are when you're playing 9 ball too, right? Because it's
So
variable.
it's a great call out. One pocket. Who do you think? Say it. Last question. Who do you think?
Mm,
It's a tough one. Is
yeah.
Alex still in that
Yeah.
conversation?
No, no, sorry. So for some reason he didn't come to mind right away, but yeah, no, I think it is Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you haven't seen him in the box much lately.
Yeah, he must be just in the Philippines doing his thing, but whenever it came down to big money matches, he got the money, right?
Yeah, the kid's an
And
animal.
I,
It's so
and it,
fun to
yeah,
watch.
it's come to the point where I think people just aren't playing him, right? Because they know.
Yeah, yeah, it's so tough. It's too tough. You touched on, and that gets us to. So, congratulations to everybody who did well and cashed, and that Midwest Expo and the Midwest tournament. That'd be a great tournament to go to. Even somebody at my level to play in some of the amateur 9 ball there, and just to see the games. So that might be. I think that might be a road trip, Eric.
It's not too
So
far.
that's
Cincinnati's
not too
8
far.
hours from us, yeah.
Oh, get rid of this COVID. Let's go. You touched on the Bergman Gorst match, and something that I think anyone who is on any social media has seen is Bergman that much of an underdog? Like it's crazy how many people are. I'll take Gorst and give 9 games, give 12 games, give like it's everybody. Nobody's taking Bergman, and I even see Justin posting on a few of the bigger threads or the heavy hitter threads saying, windows open, I've got all your action, right? So, Bergman's confident. Like he feels good about the set. I guess he I don't know. It's great that he has that confidence, but is he really that much of an underdog?
No, well, I think something you have to realize about Bergman is he's a lower key player, right? Like as far as international traveling and stuff like that. But when Bergman has gambled with top players, he's come out ahead. He beat Jason Shaw gambling.
Yeah.
So like a long race. I can't remember the number, but it was like more than 75. I want to say it was 100. He beat him.
Yeah.
So what do you want from there, right? Like, it's, and when all the other little or whenever he's gambling, like he's a bred gambler, right? He's an American, like like Filipinos are used to gambling, Americans are used to gambling, right? He's been
Yeah.
gambling his whole life, and his record is really strong. So, do I think Gorst is the favorite? Yeah, I do, but like, don't write him off. You know what I mean? And people are giving up 2-1
Yeah.
on betting against betting on him, giving up odds against him to win.
Yeah.
Like, sure, if you want to do that, maybe you're right and whatever, right? But it's like, I hope it's a close match, and I think definitely don't write him off.
Yeah, I think no, I absolutely agree. And you had a great point where he's a quiet gambler. He's not all over the world gambling. He's not a social media troll calling people out all over the place, creating games. Like, you don't see that a lot with Bergman. It's very much a little bit under the wire, or just a flyer pops up. And no, that's a great point that you made. He's not traveling all over the place. He's like the quiet gambler. Give him that nickname.
And even when he plays in tournaments, he has very strong tournament results for the amount that he's participated, right? So, he's never played bad at the Mosconi Cup. He's a great player, and he's not to be taken lightly. I think people are just really high on Gorst, which they should be, but it'll be a big challenge for him, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Gorst is the player of the hour right now, right? Like, he's constantly in the box. He's winning in the box. He's beating great players. He's playing a lot of money getting thrown at him. So, no, it makes sense. But yeah, I'm excited to see this race. If Bergman wins, I wouldn't be surprised. And I think, and what's funny, just thinking about that, if Bergman wins, I think a lot of people on social media will be like, yeah, I'm not surprised. He's a great player. But but a week earlier, they're like
talking right now.
Yeah, a week earlier, 2-1 on the money. So
right.
We'll see. It'll be a great match to watch for sure. That kind of leads into what's happening right now with the Predator Championships League. So we're down. So right now we've completed 2 days, and a lot of cool topics, a lot of interesting topics to kind of unpack with this. So the first day we had Chris Robinson finish last, and I want to say, I think he won one. Did he win one? I don't think he won one.
His last match, yeah.
He did win his last one.
Yeah. So what did they play? 6 matches? Yeah.
Yeah. So he won his last one. So he went home. Is there a surprise to that?
Is there a surprise that Ralph Souquet went home today? You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't hold it against him, right? It's just, if you looked at the betting odds, I think Robinson was like 6th favorite, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a little high, but I guess it's a surprise if really the odds makers think he's the 6th favorite, and he goes home on the first day in a round robin format, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could see that happening in some kind of single knockout, one match. Yeah, the way the format is, there's going to be surprising results, right?
Well, especially with that race to 5.
Mm-hmm.
They've already highlighted a few funny moments that cost a game. And you can't lose a game in a race to 5 to a funny roll or a funny situation. That could cost it. I think what surprised me with the Chris Robbins, the Chris thing, with Chris having to go, wasn't necessarily that he finished last. It was the score line. Same with Ralph today. Somebody has to go, and to be honest, in a race to 5, it could be any of them. It really could be any of them. So to speak. There's a few that are obviously a little bit let's just say playing more, a little bit more seasoned, whatever you want to call it. But anyone really could go in a race to 5 in this format. But I just didn't expect, the donuts, right? Like I just didn't expect that. I thought it'd be closer, maybe go down to, Chris has to go because of his game loss percentage, right? Something like that. But
Sure.
no, it was outright. He was like, I feel bad. Like he probably was like, geez, like that was tough. Like that's a tough one to swallow, right?
Yeah, like what was he, like -10 overall in the game differential? I didn't
Yeah,
notice.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then so the winner of the first day was Melling. And if you saw any of the highlights, he shoots incredible. Like, obviously, as people probably do know, he's an ex and even kind of still, but professional snooker player. Actually, no, I don't think. Yeah, he got through Q school a few years ago, but anyway, let's say ex-professional snooker player. And, it's funny when he's playing on these tight pocket diamonds, he smashes ball. He makes balls.
Yeah.
Like he's on a Valley 3.5 by 7. Like they're nothing. He had that. I don't know if you saw it, but he had the one shot where I think it was Casey left him in the jaws of the corner. He had it frozen ball on the rail, slight angle, and he just floats it up like it's no big deal and runs he's incredible. And I got to witness him in Vegas when we were at I say we like I played in it. No, when I watched you guys all play at the US Open, but he played the friend of ours, and he made a shot on this diamond at Mach 4 with spin I didn't even know existed, and got off 4 rails to get to ball shape that you would have had to use ball in hand to get to. It was one of the most incredible shots, and he just did it like that's just what you do. Like this is how you play it. And I've seen pros play like that's not just what you do. That was incredible, right? But you know what? The other thing too, though, like what a great guy. Like he's an absolute like gentleman. I mean, he hung out with us for like 25 minutes after the match. We just talked shop about pool, and he was, just one of the guys. And so, congratulations to Chris Melling. And he shot lights out, and, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the whole thing. But again, race to 5, right? So.
Melling's qualified for the final 7 group, and today, Catchy qualified. And you know the storyline there about who finished in the final, right?
Yeah. Yeah, how amazing is that?
Yeah, so good for her, right?
Right.
I feel like that's one of the best accomplishments by a women's player in a men's field. It can't be ever, but it's in the top 10 ever. Karen Corr got second at the Turning Stone one time. Yeah, good for her. She won 2 matches on the first day, so she kind of slid into the second day. And I don't know what her overall match record was today, but obviously she made the final 4 semifinals. Like that's everyone's goal, right? I don't think they want to win every match, but their goal is to make the semifinals, and then everyone's on an even playing field, right?
Yeah.
You got to win 2 matches to qualify.
That's right.
I can't remember who she beat in the semifinals.
She beat Fortunisky.
Okay.
And he won the pool, right? He finished top. He won. I'm pretty sure he won the group. And just a smoke show. And it's funny because we just mentioned how great he was last podcast, and he shot lights out. And then Kelly Fisher beat him hill. Casey beat Niels. So Niels has been in the top 4 the last 2 days, I believe. Yeah. So he's, which kind of gets to another point, but he's making some money. I mean, he got third, fourth, which I believe was a 1250. So he's made 2,500 US, and he's coming back tomorrow to ideally make some more money.
And Chris has only made 4,000, but whatever.
I know, right, but which is, and I mean we talked about that once they spread the money a little bit more, but yeah, great. I mean, great shooting by Kelly Fisher. She's shooting good. You're right about the first day. The first day, she almost got through to the next day because of the poor results of Chris.
I don't know if she was second last, but you have to assume she was third last, right?
You know what? Actually, I think she was third last, so maybe not. So maybe she was good. Anyway, she's playing great, and that's great that she got to the finals. And it was a 5-3 loss. Like, she's not messing around. So, congratulations. And honestly, if she wins day 3, I wouldn't be surprised, or any of the days, I wouldn't be surprised. So keep plugging away at it, and that's fantastic.
So another weird thing that I thought about too is that while Melling wins the first day, now he has 6 days off. How about that?
Oh yeah, that's right. Do they have any practice tables?
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's just a different event, but I've enjoyed it so far. I feel like it's presented nicely. The DAZN stream is perfect. I've heard here and there's about the Matchroom live stream. I actually hate to say it, but I actually tried to log in myself, and the feed wasn't showing. The first time I tried to log in, so I just went with the DAZN stream instead. But one of them's free, right? But overall, I think it's the same as all sporting events right now. I guess they're kind of getting away with in U.S. sporting events with bringing some fans back, but basically they're in a room with no fans, right? So, the atmosphere just can't be the same. But overall, it seems, I think it's a fun event. It might not be seen as like, the same prestige as winning the US Open because the races are so short. But, it's just it's a short race tournament, right?
Yeah, I love it. I was checking it out. Every day. I'm looking at the live scores, and you get to see everybody who's played already for the day. You can catch up really quick. You can follow your players. Follow your favorite players. And no, I think it's a really cool setup. Money aside, I think it's a really good setup. They're updating on their Matchroom page is really tight. They've got all the information there. Simple click throughs. I did hear that the live stream is busting up quite often. But yeah, I also heard the DAZN is really good. So, I mean, that's easily fixable for upcoming events, like for next year's event or so on. So a bit of a takeaway for Matchroom, but I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. And like you said last week or even the week before there's a lot of pool. Like you open up social media right now, pick like, what do you want to watch? Like it's on all day. Like, you get to it, right. Which is fantastic. And some of the have you seen some of the runouts? Did you see that one run out that we posted? I think I shared it to our We Are Pool Players page by Albin. Absolutely outrageous. When he finished the run out, like every ball was twisted, every roll happened. He made everything somehow, like literally somehow. It was against Kelly Fisher, and when he was done, he actually looked over at Kelly, and you could kind of hear the mic pick up a little bit of him saying, "Sorry, I don't even know what that was." Like that was crazy, right? And she started laughing. So it was an insane. So there's been some really cool runouts. It's been entertaining. It's great to watch. It's great to have all this pool that we can choose from. So I really love what they're doing with it right now. And there's something really interesting that maybe some of the listeners have seen, but the 9-ball counts. The 9 in a race to 5, the 9-ball counts off the break. Now listen to this shtick, right? This is slick. And I applaud Matchroom for this, even though us as players cringe at the fact that 9 balls count in a race to 5. But they're calling it the golden break, right? And they're celebrating it. They're sharing it. They're doing clips of it. They're putting little emojis beside it, like, oh, we have another. There's been 2 now, right? There's been 2 golden breaks, they're calling it. And they're almost showcasing it like a 180 in a dart tournament. Like it's this huge deal. And this is a little bit for like the non-pool players, right? This is kind of for the general fans to see, like, oh, they made a 9 off the break, right? Like kind of when you're shooting the breeze, or you hear, maybe a newer pool player or somebody who's just kind of starting saying, oh, guess what? I made the 8 off the break in 8-ball, or I made the 9 off the break in 9-ball, and they're really excited about it. But if you've been playing for a long time, you're like, does that even count anymore? Like you don't even know, right? Like, is that even a thing? Like, I don't know. Like, it's been so
Yeah.
long. So it definitely appeals to kind of to get more people interested in celebrating it and whatever. So really neat. And I wonder if that's going to play out further. Like, if they get any kind of feedback from that, will we see 9 balls off the break come back in matchroom events because that's the new 180 like in darts? So
Yeah, well, you
interesting.
know what they do in Matchroom tournaments? Like they're not using a magic rack, but they tap the balls in, so the balls are frozen, right? And
Mm,
that's why you've only seen 2 golden breaks because when the balls are frozen, the 9 ball doesn't move.
yeah,
It
it
just
has.
it just sits in the spot where it was in the rack. All the
Mhm.
balls spread around it, and basically it has to get kicked in, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, is it extremely punishing in a race to 5? For sure, but I think in a longer race, I don't mind keeping it around. It adds excitement. We need excitement in this sport, right?
Yeah.
And I think another thing that it does is it adds another stat into like gambling props,
Sure it
right?
does.
Like what are the chances of a 147 in the World Snooker Championships, or what is the
Yep.
over under in golden breaks and in different formats? Like they're going to have to do a little bit of analysis on it, right? But that can become a stat and something for people to bet on and something that pushes viewership and where we're talking about going with maybe, you know, books getting more involved in pool and money in pool coming from booking sites being involved, right?
Yeah, and we need those stats, right? We need those stats to get there. And the other part that you had added too is that the excitement, and he's, as everybody knows, and we've also touched on this too, is watching pool isn't the most riveting thing to do. It is if that's your player, that's somebody you follow, or if it's a big match. I mean, there's definitely things that pull you in, and whenever you're scrolling or you flash by a live match or a match, pool players stop and check it out and they
Yeah.
take a look. But now you have not only 9 balls on the break, you've got this race to 5. Now I don't know if race to 5 is the magic number. I mean, Moscone, whatever, but that race to 5 is to keep it moving, keep it fresh, keep it going, right? Like, everybody is, and I mean, baseball is dealing with this right now. Like, baseball has to shorten their game. I mean, it's a big deal. They're losing viewership.
Right.
So, for us to say, like, when we see a big match of, like, say, Bergman and Gorst race to 100, who in the hell is watching every game? Like,
It's for
who's
yeah,
watching that?
it's for hardcore enthusiasts only, right?
It's
Yeah.
well, it's a small percentage, right? And I mean, that's the point. But now, if you said, now let's say this, say it's Justin and Gorse, but it's race to 5, best of 21 sets or whatever. That's a little aggressive, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where it mixes it up. It's quick. It's you've got to watch this. You got to, oh, they won that set, and it just kind of shifts it up a little bit to kind of capture your attention quick, because that's what everything's about right now, is capturing your attention really quick. So I'm really interested if we see these shorter races, and again, I don't think 5 is the number personally. I think 7 might be a little bit more of a number, but
Yeah.
5 might be a little tight, and I think they might know that, but I mean, it's worked at Moscone. So there's a lot of very interesting takeaways that Matchroom is looking at with this Champions League pool for sure. And I think us as pool players, we need to also understand that this is going to affect the greater world of pool. So it's really
Sure.
interesting, kind of the space we're in and where this is going to lead. So I'm really happy with this Champions League pool. I think it's really exciting and great for the game.
Well, how about tennis, right? It's first one to win 6 games. If it goes 6-all, they play a tiebreaker, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they've
Right.
been doing that forever. And I think that's so it's not one race to 6.
Hmm.
And I feel like if they did go to this format long term, it would have to be like best of 5 sets, race to call it 6. You could model after tennis, but yeah, I think there is something to be said about just shorter races and quicker action.
Well, what do they say? If you do the same thing over and over, that's the definition of insanity, something
Yeah,
like that. And I mean, when we have like we had talked about our linear format of playing pool, we have here's the brackets, divisible by 18 by eights, say to a 128. Winners go this way, losers go this way, and they meet in the finals, and that's it. Well, if we can, and they're longer races, 11, 9, 11, 13, 15, the finals, maybe 17 or 21, like in the high level tournaments. Well, that's not necessarily capturing any kind of big sponsorship, big viewership. It doesn't seem to be working, right?
hmm
So I'm playing devil's advocate here. Is it time to shift that where you do have, like we had in the past, a round robin that goes into a double or a single elimination? Is there, you know, best of, and there's some tournaments that do this, but best of, 5 sets, but they're all race to fives.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there's different approaches that can capture viewership that you almost want to dedicate your time to watch start to finish. Whereas race to 100, the percentage of people watching every single game is so small, you couldn't sell it. Now, you
sure,
definitely check in, you definitely see where you're at, but you're not watching the whole thing. It's, and the same thing with golf. There's a lot of people who watch golf, but for everyone to watch, I'll put it this way. If you watch, it's fine to watch from first tee to the final putt. It's fun, it's exciting, you get to cheer for your icons. But that last putt or that last hole or that grind in the back nine, right, of those final two groups, that's when the excitement is, right? Same with basketball. It's those last like few minutes of the
sure.
game, it's close, and that's where the real pure excitement is. And when we see these long races, we get a lot of people. I'm always checking in at the lot. It's 95 to